Board, and we have the Sampson County Board of Education, and we do appreciate y'all being here tonight. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our co-chair, Commissioner Pope.
Good evening. A couple of months ago, I invited Clinton High School's ROTC to participate in our opening ceremony. I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Pendell from Clinton High School's JROTC unit and his color guard to present the colors tonight. Lieutenant Colonel.
Good evening. I'm Lieutenant Colonel retired John Pendell. I'm the senior Army instructor from Clinton High School, JROTC. Our color guard tonight will present the colors for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our color guard tonight consists of Cadet First Lieutenant Alita Hernandez, Cadet Second Lieutenant Elvin Chavaria, Cadet Command Sergeant Major Gianna Smith, and Cadet First Sergeant Jeffrey Torres. Please stand as we present the colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms, post. Right face, forward march, front left march.
At this time, I would like to invite a member of our Veterans Council, Mr. Darrell Price, and other members of the Veterans Council who are present forward to lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, thank you once again for allowing us this opportunity. We're asking you to, first of all, I want to thank you for the blessings that you bestowed on us and the traveling mercy for this time. And now we ask you to continue to bless each and every one of us, collectively and individually, as we conduct this meeting. Let it be pleasing in your sight as we conduct this meeting for the betterment of this county. These blessings and all others we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
You may be seated. All right, we're going to move on to the approval of the agenda for publish.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda as published. I make a motion to remove item 3, board appointments for the Fire Commission, and defer that until the June Commissioners meeting.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion, sir.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All right, now we'll move forward into approving the agenda as published with the amendment.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Motion so carries. All right, moving into item 1, the consent agenda, and we have a slight typo on the Health Department, the CPT code update on the consent agenda. It should read March of 2025, correct? Okay, everything else is is as printed. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make such a motion.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor? Motion so carries. All right, we're moving right on into our action plans, and it looks like, Mr. Hudson, you're gonna be very busy tonight. So we're gonna give it to you right off the get.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is action item A, discussion and review of fire contract amendments and fire tax rates. Before the Board of Commissioners this evening is a series of fire contract amendments from the following departments: Autryville, Clement, Clinton, Faison, Garland, Halls, Harrells, Herring, Jordan Chapel, Newton Grove, Plainview, Roseboro, Salemburg, and Spivey's Corner. Members of the board, this is significant because all of those named departments, as well as two others that you voted on at the last Board of Commissioners meeting, have signed a fire contract amendment which would extend fire service in Sampson County for another 5 years and renewable beyond that as well. All of them have agreed to the proposed multi-year rate. However, it should be noted that the fire tax rate is not being set by the Board of Commissioners this evening. You would actually set the fire tax rate for the fiscal year starting July 1, 2025 during your budget process. However, these contracts do indicate a proposed multi-year rate, and the multi-year rate is one that's been agreed upon by all of these departments. Separately, there's another process that's being run for a select few number of departments, which I actually have Piney Grove, Turkey, and Smith's Chapel. They are three departments that are going through a fire commission process by which they would like to request a fire tax rate higher than the proposed multi-year rate, and they have not yet signed the fire contract extension pending the results of the fire commission. The fire commission has heard the petitions of all of those departments, and they have called for a separate public hearing to be held in this room at 6:30 p.m. on May 20th. Following the May 20th meeting, the Fire Commission would vote and would send recommendations on those departments here to the Board of County Commissioners. But once again, it's the Board of County Commissioners that will be setting the rate. I would also like to say that Godwin Falcon, a department not on the agenda this evening, they have indicated that they are going to also sign that amendment. So before the board this evening is an action requested to approve the fire contract amendments as presented, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? We'll move right on to a motion then.
Do we have to handle these individually, one at a time, or can we do them jointly?
No, sir. You can do them jointly, all of them at one time as presented.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, okay, by raised hand. Thank you, motion so carries. The consideration of public school funding formula. Mr. Hudson, you're back up again.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Mr. Chairman, this is one of the most significant pieces of policy that I believe will come before this board probably in your tenure. This establishes a jointly adopted funding formula between three governing bodies: your board, the Board of County Commissioners, the Clinton City Board of Education, and the Sampson County Board of Education. I'd like to read just a couple of sentences from this proposed policy. Sampson County Board of Commissioners and Sampson County Board of Education and Clinton City Board of Education Annual Current Expense Funding Agreement. Let me pause here. When we say current expense funding agreement, that's what most people would think of as the annual operating fund or the operations budget of each one of these school boards. So we're talking about the current expense or annual operating budget. The funding formula says that the Board of Commissioners agrees to fund Sampson County Schools and Clinton City Schools a pro rata share of the total amount defined below based on most recent student population count of each school district as determined by the grader of the first 2 months of enrollment in the school year, otherwise known as the best one of two. Such an amount given in equal installments that begin on July 15th of each year. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the total amount of money that would be given to both boards of education for their ongoing operations. Right now, the county is giving approximately 23.1% of your revenues from property tax and sales tax to the boards of education. This would set the amount at 25% of the sum of all property tax revenues and all sales tax revenues not otherwise designated by state statute for education, which was received by Sampson County government for the immediately preceding calendar year. That's an important part of this amendment because budgetary certainty is at the heart, really, of this policy. Budgetary certainty in that the school systems would know what they would be getting, and certainty early on in your budget process so that the county knows what it would be allocating in its budget for the two school districts. So we're talking about looking back at the preceding calendar year. So in this case, it would be 2024 or 2025, whatever is the preceding calendar year just prior to when you're adopting or building your budget and when your budget officer is doing that each year. And then you can determine with certainty exactly how much money would be going to each Board of Education. So the Board of Commissioners or their designated staff would provide to both Sampson County Schools and Clinton City Schools that total exact sum of referenced revenues and tax revenues received by Sampson County government. And 25% of that 12-month sum would be a pro rata funding determined by student population. So that total amount of money would be divvied up between the two school systems based on their total student population. It goes on to talk about the fact that both school districts will provide to the county exactly what that population is, what the population numbers are. So currently, under North Carolina General Statute, the superintendents are required to forward a request for the budget for the coming year to the county manager or the county budget officer no later than May 15th of the year. Now, we know from our budgeting, that's pretty late in the game. It's very important that we get numbers early, and this allows us all to develop our budgets with a great deal of certainty very early on in the year. So that's also very important. All parties intend for the initial term of this agreement to extend through June of 2030, determining the 2030-2031 budget funding. But also, this agreement could automatically renew for a one-year term effective on July 1, 2030, and each year thereafter, unless one of the parties delivers written notice of termination at least 5 months prior to the July 1st renewal date to the chairman of the board of the other two governing bodies. Now, once again, what's very important about this is that it's jointly adopted, and I'm pleased to report to the public for the first time and the Board of Commissioners that at 5:30 this afternoon, the Sampson County Board of Education, many of whom are sitting in the audience, unanimously approved this funding formula. And last week, the Clinton City Schools also unanimously approved the funding formula. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions of the board, but the other two parties have taken the steps necessary for this to be an actionable agenda item for the Board of County Commissioners, with the recommended motion being motion to adopt the public school funding formula and authorize the chairman of the Board of Commissioners to sign the policy on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you. Have any questions? Okay.
I make a motion that we adopt the public school board funding formula and authorize the chairman of the board and commissioners to sign the policy on behalf of the Board of Education.
Second.
The motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion so carries. Thank you very much. Thank you all. I hope that gives us some certainty of what our kids can look forward to going forward, and we don't stay in limbo going forward. Mr. Hudson, I'm going to turn it back over to you for the signing ceremony, sir. You put everybody where you want them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, I just ask you to please indulge us for a moment. This is a historical moment. There are not a lot of counties in North Carolina. There are some, but not every county in North Carolina has a jointly adopted public education funding formula that will carry forward into the years. At this time, it would be appropriate for us to pause and ask that the chairpersons of each board come forward. The Clinton City School Chair will be to the left. The Sampson County Board of Education Chair will be to the right, and Mr. McLam, you're in the middle. Chairs, if you would go ahead and have a seat, and I'll now invite all the remaining members of the Board of County Commissioners to come forward, and the remaining members of the Board of Education. If you will also come forward and stand behind your chairpersons. Superintendents, please come forward as well. Let's go. Superintendents, let's get together on this side. Oh, so that's, he can stand behind everybody. I can stand in front of everybody. Everyone can see it. I'm sure. Okay.
Can you step to your right, just a little bit? That way we can see the gentleman behind you. Y'all keep looking this way, and smiling and being beautiful and handsome. And let's get one, maybe two more.
Chairs, if you would, please sign on your respective lines. And then we're going to do a little round robin. Yeah, this time it'll be attested by the two superintendents and myself. Thank you, chairs.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, I certify my copy is accurate and certified. Mine are done. My copy back there. Certified well. Gentlemen, thank you. You can take it with you. Thank you.
Always appreciate it. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just since everybody else out, I want you to feel like that. Thank you as well, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Request to move of the Board of Election and creation of the department center, in creation of a department center. We'll turn that back over to Mr. Hudson, please.
Thank you,
Over
Mr.
to you.
Chairman, members of the board. We are always looking for different ways that we might be able to do business more effectively with the public and make a more welcoming atmosphere for members of the public that come into a department. We've taken a look at where several departments are located, and one of the things that we would like to ask the board to consider is that the Board of Elections possibly be moving over to an area which has been currently occupied by Veteran Services. Veteran Services is moving into a more private office space, and that's something that the veterans actually that came to one of your prior board meetings asked about. Prior meeting, probably it was in February, that one of the requests was a more private office space for veterans. That has been accommodated. I'd like to thank the Aging Department, which I would recommend be called Senior Services, because aging sounds bad. I'd recommend that that happens sometime, but the Senior Services Department, they have moved out and have made space for veterans. If we were able to take a look at environmental health, building inspections, and planning, to go into the area that's currently Building D, which is housed by the Board of Elections, that would allow the creation in-house of a pretty much a one-stop shop, one service counter for citizens to come in and receive help from either planning, the building inspections department, or environmental health. There are some private offices over there, but most of the field personnel would no longer have access to a private office, but would rather have a workstation. And for field personnel, most of their job is in the field. So lots of inspections would be happening in the field anyway. One special note, in talking with the director of the Board of Elections, the director did ask, and this is not on your sheet, but the director did ask that the county commissioners take special note of the fact that really they've been using the Expo Center as a place where early voting happens. It's not necessary that for every election, such as municipal elections, that they have the Prestige Room. We're also able to use the Heritage Room, which is the smaller of the two large areas. But the Board of Elections did say if this happens, they do want to make sure that into the future they would also be able to use for early voting or for like the big elections, presidential elections, the Expo Center. And they have been doing that. I don't see any way really that you could have early voting or a major election in their office space where they're at now or somewhere else on the Government Center campus, which is where we're at tonight. You really do need kind of a bigger space with more parking and access where they can set up easily. As I am an interim county manager, the Board of Elections also asks that any request such as this be considered by the Board of Commissioners, because the commissioners will be here, and they've been asked to move before. In all honesty, they've been asked to move more than once. So I can totally understand that someone would not like to be asked to move time after time and time again. So before the board this evening, I've written a possible motion for you to consider, a motion to assign the office space currently occupied at the Sampson County Government Complex by Veteran Services and IT to the Board of Elections, and authorize the interim county manager to make an official request to the Board of Elections to relocate to that space as their permanent location. Also to authorize the vacated Board of Elections space to be used for planning, inspections, environmental health as a development center. And I would add, commissioners, to continue authorizing the use of the Expo Center for voting purposes. With your permission, I think that might be a good addition to the possible motion.
Okay.
I make such a move that the consideration of the move of Veterans and Services IT be moved, and with the extension of using the Expo Center for large elections.
Okay. I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor? Motion so carries. Thank you, sir. Lease of county property to Tar Heel Challenge. That's Ms. Stephanie, please.
Yes, sir. Currently, the state of North Carolina, on behalf of the Department of Public Safety Division of National Guard, rents the property where the Tar Heel Challenge Academy is located from the county. The state wishes to exercise its option to renew their lease for an additional 10 years, and that would be effective September 20th, 2020, and terminating on September 19th, 2030. The lease renewal is backdated due to employee turnover in the Department of Public Safety, and the annual rent during this renewal period is $1. All terms and conditions of the lease will remain the same during the renewal period.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to approve the lease.
I make a motion to approve the lease renewals requested by the North Carolina Department of Administration.
A second. Second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, indicate by raised hand. Motion so carries. Mr. Mark Turlington, will you please come up, sir? Purchase of property from the town of Roseboro for the future EMS building.
Yes, we've been working with the town of Roseboro for about a year now to find a location to put our new EMS building since the old one got burnt. We have found a piece of property beside where the new fire station's going in Roseboro, And the Roseboro Town Council voted to sell a parcel of the land to us for the EMS building. The property's been surveyed. We have got architect drawings and have been in contact with the town and letting them know what's going on. The project has been underway for, like I said, over a year, and the funds to purchase this property are in the county's current budget. Architect drawings including plans for the 2 EMS stations with sleeping quarters and 2 bays. The purchase of this property will allow the county to stop leasing property and eventually operate its own EMS station. I would like y'all's approval to purchase this piece of property from the town of Roseboro for $20,000.
Any discussion from the board?
How big is the tract? Is it a half acre or
3/4.
3/4 acre?
We right here from, at the fire deal.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the tract from the town of Roseboro for $20,000.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, hit raise hand. Motion so carries. Mr. Carson, while you're there, can you bring us up to date on the Ivanhoe Water Project, please?
Yes, sir. I rode through the project today, and as of today, they have installed 2 miles of water line on McCoy Loop Road, which has finished that road. 7/10 of a mile on G. Shaw Road, a mile and 6/10 on Alpine Church Road, and a mile and 1/10 on Hoover Road, which is a total of 5.4 miles of water line they have put in the last month, which they've got 2 crews working there now, plus a directional bore crew. They've got over 100 directional bores to do. I got the contractor to do me a project timeline, and I'll read this off to you, and I've got copies if y'all would like it after the meeting. The project started on 3/17 of 2025. Materials was delivered on January the 31st, 2026. Directional drills started April the 7th of 2025. Casing and boring started April the 15th. The water services, which that is where they're going to run the lines from our main to the homes, will start September the 8th of 25. The booster pump site, which helps get the water to Ivanhoe, is in the process of being built at the manufacturing now and will be moved on a truck when it's built. They think it'll be in and ready to go November the 3rd of 25. Cleanup, seeding, and erosion control has already started as they're putting piping in. Flushing, pressure testing will be November the 1st. Start up the booster pumps will be March of 26. Miscellaneous work, October 22nd. Punch list should be done November the 2nd of 2026. Project closeout should be November the 17th, 2026. Now, this is just if it's a perfect world, this is what'll happen. If we have no rainy summer or winters, the project should be completed by November of 2026 by the contractor's estimate. Any questions on that?
Any questions?
While I'm up here, I do want to say that Wednesday of last week, we turned in 2 applications for grant money for Old Warsaw Road and Mintz Highway. I feel good about this. We turned in DWI. There's some of us met with DWI and voiced our concern about these 2 areas that need water. And we have done what they've asked. We fill out the application like they've asked. And now we'll just have to sit and wait and see if we get the grants. We should know something in August or September. Any questions on that?
Thank you for all you're doing.
Yes, sir.
I just got one more question for you. I know that you were doing some stuff down there at Midway Elementary at the water tower. Where we at on that, please?
It was supposed to go in service Thursday. The contractors went down and they had some malfunctions and they've had to set it back for 2 weeks now. So hopefully 2 weeks from today.
I was asked that question. I appreciate you bringing me up to date on it. All right, any more questions?
Mr. Sturgeon, I would ask that if anything goes off plan, that you would please let the people from Ivanhoe know what's going on.
We are on our website. We are, Jean Co, we're keeping her up to date and she is keeping our website up to date with information. But if there's any changes, drastic changes, we will let the community know. Thank y'all.
All right, we are moving right along, and we are at our H on our agenda, and that would be Ms. Melissa on the Sampson County contract policy as far as our finance goes. Thank you.
Good evening. The primary purpose of a contracts policy is to ensure that government spending is used effectively, efficiently, and ethically. It provides a framework for how the government interacts with private entities through contracts, encompassing everything from procurement processes to managing contract performance. This framework aims to maximize value for taxpayers, promote competition, and ensure compliance with relevant laws and regulations. It is respectfully requested that the board approves the attached contracts policy for Sampson County.
For those who don't know, it is a very long contract policy. I've read through it from ethics to contracts to, I don't think it misses anything that I saw.
Yeah, contracts are legal documents that protect the interests of the county by providing what the requirements are for all the parties to the contract. So it's really helpful to have everything set forth.
And I appreciate the time that's been put into this, because this was not just done very rapidly, I know. All right, any more questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contracts policy. Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion so carries. All right, I think you're still up again.
Yes, sir.
On for us to make sure I'm right, revise for an updated Sampson County purchasing manual.
Updating purchasing policies ensures that taxpayer money is spent wisely and effectively, promoting economy, efficiency, and transparency in government procurement. This includes establishing clear standards for planning, sourcing, vendor evaluation, risk assessments, and more. Regularly reviewing and updating these policies helps to adapt to changing needs and priorities while also mitigating risk like fraud and abuse. It was last updated in November of 2021. It is respectfully requested that the board approve the attached revised and updated Sampson County Purchasing Manual.
Any questions?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Hold, can we hold? Did we address piggybacking in here?
I'm sorry?
Did we address piggybacking on contracts?
I believe so.
I looked for it and I was having trouble finding it, but I was looking on a small computer too.
I don't know exactly where it might be. I will check on that for you if you want to table it until next time we can get it added if it's not in there.
You good or something to add?
Pardon?
Does somebody need to have it added now, or?
For those of you who don't know, piggybacking is a method of purchasing where another local government, i.e. say the city of Clinton, goes out and buys a piece of equipment and they get 3 bids for it. If it's done within a certain amount of time, the county can essentially piggyback off that bid without having to get 3 additional bids, therefore cutting down on costs, just camping onto another. Am I correct in that assessment? Okay.
You good with everything else?
I'm good with everything else. I just wanted to make sure that we had something in there about piggybacking.
If you want to add that, so we're fine.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You go ahead and make your motion.
I'll make a motion.
We're making a motion to table the.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to table it. I guess
Till
we
we
need
get
to
it
table
done.
it till we get it done.
Get it done.
Is that-
You can do it one of two ways. You can either wait until next, you can table this to have this information added in if it's not already in it, and for us to find it and add it in. or you can make a motion to approve it with the instruction that if it is not already in here, we come back with an addition into it. So that way, you're approving the same thing twice in that case, but if we find it, as far as reviewing it is a big policy, that then we don't have to come back again next month, potentially.
And if I could add, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I don't think that it is in there. However, state law and federal law allows piggybacking. So we could, if the board would like, you could adopt it as is, and we can add another section to this as a tack-on in the next meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Can we, so we just make the motion to approve it with the addition of the piggybacking clause in concordance with state and federal law?
Yeah, to be added into it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
As an appendix.
So I'll make a
Well,
motion that we approve it with the revised standard with addition added in.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Okay. Motion so carries. Thank you. Mr. Attorney, you are up, or you are the board appointment of a policy that we have.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. I have before you tonight for your consideration a board appointment policy. Just as way of explanation too, this kind of came to my attention a few months ago as a directive for research and to look into best practices as far as board appointment policies go. With that, did undertake the research and the drafting of the policy that is before you. Again, it does reflect simple highlights, best practices from other attorneys and other municipalities across the state, hitting on various aspects as far as county residency, reputation and integrity, avoiding individuals that have had litigation either with the county, either now or in the past 10 years, allows for certain flexibility within the board in instances, say for the health board where a dentist or a pediatrician is required, and other various requirements and necessities within this, and speaks specifically also to the appointment and removal of such persons in the event that they do not attend the required board meetings. So with that, I put this before for your consideration. Happy to answer any questions that you may have, but otherwise request a motion to approve the board appointment policy as presented.
Got any questions? We good?
I make a motion, we approve. Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Raise your hand. Motion so carries. Thank you for your work. Ms. Dana Hall, you will come up, please.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm here on behalf of the Department of Aging, soon-to-be Senior Services. And we want to talk to you a little bit about the month of May being Older Americans Month. Older Americans Month is celebrated every May in the United States. It's a time to recognize and honor the contributions of older adults and to highlight the different aspects of aging in our society. Older Americans Month was officially designated in 1963 by President John F. Kennedy. The theme for 2025 is Flip the Script on Aging, which encourages a shift in how society perceives, talks about, and approaches aging. Now, if it will be okay with the board, I'm going to read what the proclamation is for your consideration.
Thank you.
Whereas May is Older Americans Month, a time for us to recognize and honor Sampson County older adults and their immense influence on every facet of American society. And whereas through their wealth of life experience and wisdom, older adults guide our younger generations and carry forward abundant cultural and historical knowledge. And whereas older Americans improve our communities through intergenerational relationships, community service, civic engagements, and many other activities. And whereas communities benefit when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently. And whereas Sampson County must ensure that older Americans have the resources and support needed to stay involved in their communities, reflecting our commitment to inclusivity and connectedness, and now therefore be it proclaimed that Sampson County Board of Commissioners recognizes May 2025 as Older Americans Month. We call upon all residents to join us in recognizing the contributions of our older citizens and promoting programs and activities that foster connection, inclusion, and support for older adults.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
I make a motion to approve the proclamation as read.
Second.
Any more discussion? Not? Indicate by the raised hand. All approve. Thank you.
If I may, Chairman, the piggybacking clause is in the purchasing policy on page 19.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I was reading it on a very small iPad.
Oh, that's fine.
No, I just found as well, it's a bullet under a different point.
It's exceptions to the
It's
purchasing.
exceptions, not specifically called out that you can do it. It's an exception to, but it is in there.
Okay.
Thank y'all for finding all that and working it out for us. I appreciate it. All right, the board appointments we're holding those off till June according to our agenda. Now we're on to our public comment period. Ms. Stephanie, if you will call them out for us, please.
Mr. Carter? And if you'll just state your name and address for the record, please.
Nathaniel Carter, 82 Crumpler Mill Road, Salemburg. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Co-Chair, fellow commissioners, and Mr. Hudson, I first wish to extend my gratitude for your service and the open-style communication that your leadership affords Sampson County and her residents. I remain confident that I speak for the majority of District 3 when I say that we certainly appreciate Mr. Crumpler and his outreach approach to local government and county business. So again, we thank you. Mr. Chairman, I come here this evening to bring awareness for a global pandemic that now affects Sampson County and our local communities. Roadway litter, that is, trash in general. Roadway litter characterizes a controllable condition that harms everyone equally, presents imminent harm to people, wildlife, and the marine ecosystem, detracts businesses, incentivizes crime, poses a grave danger to rivers, lakes, waterways, and oceans, costs millions and millions of dollars per cleanup, diminishes self-pride and confidence, and presents direct and indirect complications for physical and mental health, as well as economic longevity and general survivability. In fact, and according to Deep Blue Sea, in 2016, the amount of plastic pollution entering marine environments annually was an estimated 9 to 23 million tons. And without intervention, that number is expected to rise to about 53 million tons per year by 2030. Likewise, some studies elicit positive correlations that link litter to physical health, which yields to probabilities suggesting the lack of litter intervention may catalyze long-term consequences such as infertility, cardiovascular issues, and cancer. For your review, I've provided electronic documentation in the form of a literature review styled informative that addresses the implications of roadway litter should we continue upon our current trajectory. Along with the summary of findings, you will find a PowerPoint presentation that offers mitigation solutions whereby neighboring counties have adopted measures that successfully address such trashy behaviors. I encourage you to review the material at your earliest convenience, and I look forward to all proposals by this commission in using every necessary power invested to take out the trash from Sampson County, once and for all. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to share this with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Appreciate you.
Ms. Hunt?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Elaine Faiston Hunt. I reside at 7171 Old Warsaw Road, Turkey, North Carolina. I was here mainly to get an update and to get acknowledgement of the grant application being submitted. So I thank Mr. Turleton for giving that information before I stood. And we thank him for all that he is doing along with the commissioners. And you feel good about the application, we're gonna feel good too. But while we sit and while we wait, we're also gonna pray. And again, I thank you for letting us know that the application, grant application was submitted Wednesday, which was April the 30th, the deadline. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mons?
Good evening. I'm not speaking to you all this evening, I'm speaking to that camera. So with that being said, this is where I thrive. You know, I was on television for 5 years. So this is an issue that I've discussed with each one of you all individually. I'm not going anywhere. It's still the same issue. Your DSS department is extremely corrupt. So those of you who are looking in live or looking at this at a later date, I'm going to ask you to get in touch with me, 910-286-6604. There's a major issue. There have been other individuals who have been going through the same thing that my family and I have endured for 4 years. This is a major issue in Sampson County. And just as I stated back in November when the current director was stepping down, I said there would be no change. It's gotten worse. And this is intel from inside. There's no need to go into your human resource office because I have dealt with that particular individual. And there's, as I said before, and I've said many times, if you have cancer, you want it all out. Now, the honeymoon is over. I understand the budget has been done. You all have gotten your feet wet. So let's deal with some other issues that are prevalent concerning the citizens of Sampson County. Once again, I'm speaking to the camera. If you have had any dealings with the DSS department of Sampson County, please get in touch with me because we're placing and putting together a radical movement. And there have been individuals who have reached out to me personally who is just like our story, but they have taken out our names and placed their names in it. And I'm trying to stay as cordial as possible because unless you've been where I've been and dealt with what I've dealt with, you really don't understand. If you haven't lost a loved one to cancer or some type of ailment, you don't understand what the person is going through until your child, grandchild, or what has been taken through unscrupulous activities and corruption. And the list goes on and on and on and on. And now the gloves are off. Now, I've been as patient as possible with this county. And so, once again, if you have had an issue with DSS in Sampson County, get in touch with me, 910-286-6604. This is a movement that is about to burst. Thank you. Y'all have a blessed evening.
Mr. Sutton?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and commissioners and other support staff members. I want to, first of all, extend my support to the gentleman who mentioned the idea about the cleanup campaign for Sampson County. And I would like to also extend my continued support for the water infrastructure projects that are being planned, hopefully, for Sampson County. And anything that's positive and uplifting for Sampson County, include me in that as well. And tonight, I'm going to be a little different I'm going to illustrate this facsimile of an American flag, and I know it's turned upside down for a purpose. It's upside down because I want to express my distress over what's happening primarily on the national level of our politics in this country. And my fear is what's happening on the national level is going to trickle down to the state and the county as well. I have no doubt that the policies and programs that are being cut, that are being gutted on the national level are going to eventually impact us here locally as well. It's coming. Brace yourself. And I am concerned, and I hope you all are as well, because I don't have very many pleasant words to describe what's happening on the national scene. Words like lawless come to mind. Words like reckless come to mind. So tonight, I want to express my distress on the plight of America during these last 100 days in this country. And I hope it doesn't affect us here locally too much. But when it does, be forewarned. We are living in perilous times, and I hope you are aware of that and will take actions to address it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton.
Mr. Peterson? Mr. Peterson?
Y'all know, everybody in the county, that their property has doubled in value. And a lot of people, the older people, ain't able to work now. And during the 70s, they were fighting 21.5% interest. They lost farms and lost homes. And then in the 80s, the financial nation like to collapse, and some few of them had some retirements, and the companies filed bankruptcy. And some of them had to have dropped their homeowners insurance. Some of them had to drop their supplement insurance. Their homeowners, everything's gone up, and everybody's has. It ain't just senior citizens. And their income was raised 2.5. And the counties want more tax money, they say, way back here. I don't know where they are or they ain't. But they can't afford the more taxes. And it says if you don't pay it, we're going to sell you stuff. And so I would suggest if that happens, you need to be seeing if you can get some grant money and build a senior citizens home to move them in. And you should not, ever who passed those laws, where it's y'all or the state, they should be the one to have to go out there to drag them out of the house when it's sold, and not send the sheriff's deputy out there and endanger their lives. So senior citizens in the county and the state need to wake up and keep watching, quit watching TV and come over here and try to explain it. And you only got 3 minutes to say something, and it should be able to get 4 minutes if you need it. I thought we're supposed to have freedom of speech in this nation, but they only let you speak just 3 minutes, and everybody taxpayers. And anybody that wants their taxes raised next fall, raise your hand. So that looked like that was anonymous, don't it?
Next.
Mr. Chairman, that's all we have. That's all we have signed up.
That's all we have that's signed up. Before we go any further, is there anyone else that, has anything to say tonight? If not, Paul? We're going into, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm jumping around. County manager, you've talked so much tonight, I was trying to get by you, but go ahead.
Yes, sir.
It's on you.
That's okay. I will cut back on everything I was going to say down to this. Last week, I was invited to go out to the intersection of 24 and 421 by the city of Clinton. I met the city manager there, and I will admit, we don't have a whole lot of agricultural protein animal spills in Onslow County. We've got farms, not as many as when I was growing up in Richlands. I mean, a lot of fields in Onslow County are growing houses now. They're not farming like my family had a farm. But when I was growing up there in the 70s, we didn't have 18-wheelers full of byproduct going down the road. And one fella didn't do a great job of it, and he spilled a lot. And so that's the first time I've witnessed it. It was horrible. And so I can tell you that one of my first calls was to Rick Sauer, our emergency services director, and I said, if I'm going out there, you're going out there. And so we went out there together, and he helped document the situation. My second call was to our attorney, Paul Allen, and my question was to him, I know the city of Clinton, and police officers, law enforcement officers, they have certain things that they can charge a driver with, but what do we have on the books? So, Mr. Chairman, I'd ask Mr. Allen to give you the answer he gave me.
We do not currently have any enforcement mechanisms for this type of incident that takes place within the county. We don't have anything in our county ordinance that speaks to it. There are state issues and regulations such as EPA, littering, and things of that nature that do address it as well, in addition to what the town has as far as their citations, but there's nothing currently in county ordinance.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, there is state law, and in fact, that driver was charged with several counts, including, I believe, from a report, operating without a license. So if I remember that correctly from the newspaper account. And I did see the newspaper editor here earlier. Yes, I think I had that right. So certainly law enforcement could charge and did charge. I would like to publicly thank GFL. While I was on site, I called my contact with GFL, Mr. Wooster. Mr. Wooster and his staff acted quickly to identify which truck it was, and then they helped detain the driver until the City of Clinton police could arrive on scene. So GFL cooperated. It was not a GFL truck. It was another truck that was heading that way. So I think that is, that's something that I want you all to be briefed on, but since I've been here in January, there have been multiple of these spills. So, Commissioners, that's one thing. Also, I know that a couple of commissioners have gotten calls, and I want to address something publicly this evening. Of course, I've been working on the budget, and I've been keeping the Board of Commissioners informed where I'm at on that budget. It was necessary to take some actions to try to bring expenditure levels, spending levels down. The county manager has the authority to reorganize county departments, and I have done that with an effective date of June 1st. And with that reorganized county government departments, there were 20 positions that were reduced in county government, spanning many multiple departments. The freeze that was in place is being lifted tomorrow. So there's no longer a need for a hiring freeze. Departments will be able to hire as normal starting on the 12th. I would like to report that not one single county employee lost their job. By putting a freeze in place, freezing the positions, I was able to eliminate positions through attrition. I also talked individually with every department head that was affected, and in some instances, department heads were able to suggest another or different vacancy that would impact their departments less. So I always took that into consideration, and I'd like to say that it was a team effort. The cuts were through attrition. No one went home without a job. There are 3 county employees in different departments that are moving to a different job, but everyone maintained 100% of their pay, 100% of their benefits. And that's going to help us balance the budget as we go into the next year. And Commissioners, this has only to do with one thing, and that is recurring revenues of the county versus recurring expenditures of the county. That's the only thing this has to do with. So knowing that at least one commissioner, if not two commissioners, had received calls from the public, I thought that publicly this was a good opportunity to set the record straight on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Okay, have you got any?
Mr. Chairman, that's up to you.
Discussion. What
Go ahead.
processing plants are they coming from where it's creating spills? Is it from the processing plant here, or is it in other counties are coming into the landfill?
Sir, I don't know where they're coming from. There are all kinds of different companies that send animal products or animal waste this way.
The landfill over yonder where the water tables got polluted, they say from it.
I don't know anything about that, sir. I'm just addressing the animal spills.
And we'll move forward on that one, but yes, it is being addressed, and there's some things that we think we'll see, because you and me both know that as long as we allow it to go on and they don't get punished and we don't get at their pocketbook, they're not going to change. So we're trying to move forward with this county to where we address the pocketbook issue of these companies that are under contract, to where once they realize that, uh-oh, now we can buy equipment cheaper than we can pay the fines, then we'll get things fixed.
Yeah, they're gonna cheat, companies, we're gonna contract it, that's the one that's the
And
cheapest.
that I promise you, that I promise you we've realized, and we're on to that.
Is there any way to get GFL to quit taking all the stuff from the other 30 counties and bring it to our county so we can have our own?
That's gonna have to, that's another whole issue, and I appreciate that, but that's a whole nother issue we're gonna
People
talk.
can't wash in one man's bathwater.
I agree.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Mr. Hudson.
Okay.
Mr. Hudson, on the hiring freeze, you state that the hiring freeze will end tomorrow. Is there a possibility that the hiring freeze could not be extended a little bit longer so that there could be more investigation about whether jobs could be possibly consolidated so that we could continue to reduce the county employee headcount to help alleviate some of the recurring revenue issues that we will face, not just with this current budget, with future budgets as well. My concern is that we may be moving too quickly with lifting the hiring freeze, but of course, you're the manager and I will follow your recommendation, but I just want to make sure that there are no other positions that cannot be possibly consolidated through attrition.
Thank you, sir. We've gone through every department and looking at the positions that could be cut and still allow the continuation of services. There are some departments that have held off on hiring, such as medical, like in the health department or in DSS. I did make an exception for emergency personnel, so the sheriff's office and paramedics and E911 telecommunicators, because that's immediate life safety. And so I did not put a hiring freeze on that, but everything else was frozen. We're reaching the point now that some of those other positions that are still mission critical for those departments, that they need to go ahead and fill. And with 20 positions, we reached enough that I believe that I can move forward with balancing the budget. At the discretion of the board can certainly, it's within your authority to freeze it as long as the board wants it frozen, certainly. I believe that we're to the point where I've gotten the money that I needed to balance a budget equitably between revenues and expenditures. But obviously, every day that a position is not filled is more money that you would be saving in this year's budget.
I understand. Any other questions, any thoughts, comments?
Just wondering what my fellow board members would feel about possibly extending the hiring freeze for another month, possibly till our budget's finalized.
My question to you would be, is by doing that, is it going to create a problem with some of the departments in, as far as the advancement of what we need to do in those departments? Would holding it a month going to make that much difference? Or?
In some departments, it will create a problem. And the health department and the health director is here this evening. I believe only the health director is here, yes. And she could speak to some of the positions I have frozen. I know also human resources is present as well. She might be able to speak to some of the other frozen positions, but we're talking about things like income maintenance caseworkers, social workers, there are supervisor positions, also positions in the health department, and universally, I'd frozen them. So while it would not perhaps make a difference in some departments, some of them are also position dependent. And actually, another department that comes to mind is aging or senior services. Is Ms. Hall still here? Yes. And she might be able to speak to how the position that is currently vacant also generates revenue. And so we indiscriminately froze, even if only a portion of the money was from county dollars. There's money from state and federal dollars as well. But those department heads in the audience may be able to give you a better glimpse into some of their specific needs.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hudson and Mr. McLam and to Ms. Chip, call him Chip. I feel like by continuing with the freeze, you're only gonna cause employees headache and problems. We realize we got a problem, and I know nobody's not gonna go out there and hire anybody that they don't need. But to continue the freeze is not a wise thing to do, I don't believe, because people wanna feel secure about their job. I wanna know I'm gonna wake up in the morning and have somewhere to go, not when I get there, you got to go home. So I think if we lifted it to tomorrow, which is Tuesday, it would be better for the employees' morale and for keeping them safe and healthy. That's what it's all about. You want to take care of the people that work for you.
To go along with that, I get some of the departments, especially DSS and health, they're gonna need them. So to take the freeze off would help them with the people that they need.
And with that said, I publicly want to thank our department heads and the people who work for this county and what you've gone through for the last, we'll say, 4 months of a lot of changes and a lot of stepping up to the plate. I know the public will see it, I hope, in the near future, what all you have done. I've seen it. I'm very impressed with the people who work for this county and what they've tried to accomplish for this county. It's to be commended for what you've done. So with that, I'm gonna go along with our county manager or interim county manager recommendations and remove the freeze at this time. And I'm sure that it will continue to be monitored and looked at. It's not gonna be a runaway. And I will challenge you to continue to do what you do. I think the board can feel good with that. You good with that?
I think Mr. Hudson has the knowledge and the foresight that he's capable of making an evaluation if he identifies the position that he could probably hold off on it, but otherwise, I think he needs to proceed with what he's doing.
So
I would just like to say I appreciate my fellow commissioners sharing that with me, and I'm glad we had this opportunity to have this discussion publicly, because as everyone is well aware, I've been very concerned about the growth in the county's budget over the past several years, and knowing that we're probably looking at a tax increase at the next budget, I just want to make sure that the county is doing its due diligence to reduce cost as much as possible so that we show the citizens of Sampson County that the county government's doing its due diligence and not just looking to the taxpayer for a bailout. And I think Mr. Hudson has done a good job, and I thank you, and thank you for answering my question now.
Yes, sir, and with the indulgence of the board, I will at this time direct the Human Resources Director to pass along to all department heads to not issue offers of employment until I have reviewed the job that is being considered. So that will allow me once again to take one more look before any final offers of employment are given to applicants.
Thank you.
Not saying that it's frozen, but I will look at everything. Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's how we ask for.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Our manager's been working with department heads. Department heads are probably a lot grayer, if not missing hair, and whittling down county operating budgets. He has had done due diligence. I'm waiting for his report in our June meeting when he makes his presentation. I think that the majority of citizens will see that just about every department has ponied up and identified cuts that they could not necessarily they could live with, but it's probably not something they want in the world, but they're gonna make do. And I appreciate their willingness to do that. And I appreciate you taking the time and working with them on multiple work sessions to identify this. I don't know of any other time in county history that this much has been put into a workshop with department heads at bottom line budget building. And I appreciate that.
Thank you. Not right now. We'll get back to you in just a second. We'll get it after the meeting, okay? I promise you. 'Cause we got to go to a closed session and we'll get back around. I promise you, Mr. Peters. But go ahead with your closed session, because we're trying to, there's a lot of stuff got to go on tonight. Y'all, all right.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 for personnel reasons.
Second.
I have a second. We are in closed session at this time. Y'all will. All right, we are back out of closed session into open session.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to come out of closed session and go back into open session.
So move, second.
All right, all those in favor? We're open session. All right. In closed session, we talked about a personnel issue, and I'm gonna turn that over to Mr. Hudson at this time, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before the board this evening is a possible motion to amend the contract of the county attorney. The county attorney's contract, Section 1K, has the following language: employees shall further be required to establish residency within approximately 30 miles of Clinton, North Carolina, within 18 months of the effective date of this agreement. The board is considering the possible motion, and it is as follows. Motion to amend Section 1K to read as follows: employees shall further be required to establish residency within Sampson County, North Carolina, within 36 months from today's date, period.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Make a motion that what we've just read be received.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion so carries. All right. At this time, the board has no other further action except for some personnel issues that was given to our county manager to handle. Okay. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to close.
So move.
Second.